Greetings. I would like to introduce myself. I am Advait Madhavan, a first year student of Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Bangalore, Karnataka, India. This video is going to be about battery restorations. Battery restorations refer to the process in which a battery can be administered to certain procedures such as adding extra electrolyte and de-sulphation processes through which it can regain its life. It can hold up to 30 to 40% of capacity still, that enables it to be useful in certain applications. So let me show you how to do the battery restoration. Now a quick disclaimer here is that this is not a patented formula, and there have been many ways in which batteries have been restored and many people have been posting videos on the same, but then this is one of the methods which I found to work with almost all my other batteries, and I would really like to share it with you since it has had a pretty good success rate. Okay, so the first order of business is to take these plastic caps off of a battery. Take these plastic caps and arrange them to the side. Now you have another rubber cap, and here's the tricky part. Use a plier to open them, and do keep a proper distance because the electrolyte could splash in the eye and that could be dangerous. Wear eye protection, and then carefully remove the electrolyte, remove the caps. Now, need to be careful because batteries can release hydrogen gas, which is very dangerous. So, need to do it in a well ventilated environment, and keep any source of open flame far away from the source. Now, addition of electrolyte is an important part. In order to replenish the electrolyte levels, you need distilled water, certified distilled water from a battery store. Using a syringe, take out 5 ml of distilled water. Okay, that's 5 ml of distilled water, and slowly add it to the cell. Okay, so like you can see, that cell was already having a little bit of water in it, so therefore you should never overfill a cell. Okay, this cell drank the water completely, and yes, this cell was totally empty. Okay. Take out excessive water from cells which have already been loaded and spray it back into the bottle. Yes, so the lab bench power supply is now showing 13.8 volts at 40 milliamps. This is because this battery is relatively too old, and thus it's taking time to get to the voltage limit of 10.8 volts, after which it will be charged normally to 14.4 volts, after which we need to administer desulphation at 16.2 volts. Okay, having left it on the 14.4 volt charge for some time, there has been a significant improvement because the current has risen to 180 milliamps, which is a good thing. After some time, I'm going to shift it on the 16.2 volts desulphation mode. Okay, now that there has been a significant improvement and the battery has started to take a charge, in order to proceed to the desulphation mode, you need to set the voltage to around 16.2 volts. So when the voltage is at 16.2 volts, the sulphate, the hard sulphate deposits inside the battery will melt down. Now, attempting this idea just once may not restore the battery. The battery has to be subjected to this cycle multiple times to get all the sulfates melted and thus get back into normal use. And after that, it has to be subjected to very good charge and discharge cycles, and it should be tested with the load, after which it can be used once again. Okay, so one thing which I would like to say is that this hack of restoring batteries, as I said before, is not patented. This is just one of the few methods in which the battery restoration can be tried. Now, people ask this question as to what is the advantage of battery restoration. Now, the advantage is that, firstly, not all applications that use these lead acid batteries require a fully functioning lead acid battery. Certain things such as a solar powered irrigation pump or a solar powered drip irrigation system, which is mostly used at daytime, uses the battery only to buffer up the voltage and stabilize the voltage. And it's not necessarily used to store the energy completely. So in these situations, instead of getting a new battery to the for replacement, restoring the old battery using this procedure will help. Secondly, there have been a lot of instances in rural parts of Asia and Africa where young innovators have used dead car batteries, dead inverter batteries to build their projects. Now, if they administer this restoration process on those batteries, they can improve the efficiency that it gives. Now, one more fact that I would like to clear here is that this battery restoration does not restore the battery to a new battery totally. It does not have 100% efficiency. The battery does not regain 100% capacity. No, it gains only 30 to 40% of its original capacity and cannot run the same powerful loads that it used to run before. For example, a battery that is used in an e-bike, once restored, cannot run an e-bike once again. It can be utilized to power a small 12 volt DC bulb. Yes, that's possible. Now, so these batteries, when restored, can be used with solar power systems, with small loads, which can work on these batteries just as effectively as a fresh battery. Thus, we can reduce the amount of batteries that are being used in the first place. And secondly, the most important thing is that the solar based systems can easily be used with these batteries, mainly because these restored batteries can offer the same efficiency as the new one. So now the question arises as to which all batteries can be subject to this particular restoration process. The answer is any type of flooded battery which the maintenance batteries, the flooded batteries can be subjected to this. And in case of sealed maintenance free batteries, VRLA, valve regulated lead acid batteries, and a selective number of AGM absorbed glass mat batteries can be subjected to this restoration process. Gel batteries cannot be restored, but it's not a problem because gel batteries have a lifespan of around 15 years on average. But on all the other batteries, this process can be administered, and the restored battery will work well with small loads and solar applications. Only certain solar applications, not the applications in which energy storage is mandatory. It can only be used in solar applications such as solar agricultural pumps, where only stabilization is required. Another great use for these restored batteries is that in most rural areas, radios are still a very common source of entertainment, and most radios use around 8 units of D size and C size batteries. Now, these batteries are hard to come by, and because they are not rechargeable, they can cause a lot of pollution. However, with the use of a restored battery that could probably be charged by a solar panel, these radio systems can be run with utmost ease. Now, in order to make this a very sustainable project, I would recommend that battery companies around the world and electrical companies around the world encourage these restoration processes instead of discouraging them. Now, the ways in which the encouragement can be done are to set up industry sponsored laboratories and other places which have dedication towards battery restoration, and people should be trained on how to do battery restoration, and the company should avoid making the batteries completely sealed by fixing weird shaped caps and by concealing the caps totally, making it difficult to open it. These are things which should be avoided, and the company should make it very user friendly to undertake a restoration. So if battery companies could help in restoration of batteries, then it would really be useful, as we can not only reduce the amount of battery pollution but derive more utility out of something which still has a little bit of potential in it, even though we cannot derive the full potential. Okay, one important note to keep in mind is that this solution is not perfect. Firstly, it will not give the battery its full life, as told before, and the battery will have only limited applications, but it's still fine with applications that are okay. And not all batteries can be restored easily. There are certain batteries which are very old and thus cannot be restored. So the best way to restore these batteries is to do it on batteries which is around less than 4 years old, and the batteries which have a terminal voltage of at least 10.8 volts to 12 volts are the best candidates for this restoration process, as they are more likely to get recovered. Batteries which have 0 volts, 1 volts, 2 volts are not capable of being recovered easily. Okay, I would like to conclude the video for now, and I really hope that this solution can be implemented by battery companies. It may not be the most efficient solution, but still relatively sustainable to reuse things which have potential in them. Thank you for considering this idea.